This is Tarron with Twisted Mesquite Performance Horses. We are on a mission to create a world-class 2-year-old program that specializes in red cow horse. Today we're doing a video with Huck. This is the end of week 1 for him. We're going to go over some of the exercises we've been using to advance him, some of the thoughts we're thinking as we go through those exercises, and just showing where he's at in the progress. So this horse, when he came to us, he'd been halter broke. He'd been saddled a handful of times. They said that he would buck with the saddle a little bit. So I had all this in my mind when I was preparing this horse, as I was taking him through. You know, we did our round pin work, which essentially gets this horse used to sending, where I can send him in the direction I need him to go, gets him thinking about turning into me. So and then facing up to me, and to where his release or his rest comes from when he's giving me 2 eyes right here. Generally these halter broke horses have kind of have a decent little start on them. They go through that pretty quickly, and he did the same way. Then we go and start our halter work, or our lead rope work. Kind of go through what we've worked on so far. So like I said, we did our round pin work, and then we went into, want to make sure that I can yield his hindquarters. I want this inside foot to cross over that outside foot to where he's pivoting on that inside, or he's pivoting on his front end and sending that hindquarters around him. We did all of this, did a bunch of this before I went ahead and got him saddled. I wanted to make sure that we had some control on him, make sure he understood lunging and disengaging his hindquarters before we went and saddled him. And then after that, we did that for a few days, some of these other exercises. And yesterday, I went ahead and saddled him and let him carry that around. So this desensitizing is what I'm doing right here, is quite an important aspect of getting these colts quiet and relaxed. Especially once we get the saddle on them and they hear this, the saddle getting this rope and string and different things making noise on this saddle. But we want to be able to do that with our stick and string, with our lead rope. When we started doing this with him, he was pretty funny about his hind end. He was pretty funny about those hind legs right there. He'd kind of jump around a little bit, mostly on day 1 and then a little bit on day 2. But since then, you could tell, he's getting pretty relaxed. He's keeping his feet still, lowering his head. He's got a little bit of an attitude about it. You can tell with his ears, but he's not moving his feet, and he's staying relaxed. That attitude stuff will go away the more we work him. This right here, when we're desensitizing these horses, this is when that horse gets to rest. It's when this horse gets to relax. He gets to catch his breath. So they start to hunt this time and wind down and relax when we're doing this. So generally, when we're not on camera, I'm going to do each of these 30 times on each side. And the goal is to make sure that his feet are standing still and he's quiet. But this just gives them plenty of time between exercises, between us moving their feet, where they can stand relaxed. So we've taught this, or at least reiterated. I think he already knew how to lunge, but we've covered this. Want to make sure he disengages that hindquarters and make sure that he's straight with me right there. I want to be able to do it on both sides. So far, we've been having pretty good, a good time with him. He's been, I think this colt travels pretty well when he gets on the outside of this round pen and travels. That was one of the first things I noticed about him. He travels really well. And another thing I've noticed with him, he's pretty personable. He's pretty personable, and which we'll touch on that here in a minute. But when I started flexing him, he was very soft. So that's all good stuff. They're good. I want to be able to send him between me and the fence. This is good for, say you get on this colt and you're riding him out in the pasture and he won't travel. He won't go over a canyon or in through a ditch or water or something like that. Gets them. This is a starting place where you can send them between you and that thing. Or if they're scared of something on the ground, do the same thing. This exercise here is what we use in order to help them learn how to load in the trailer as well. I like how he's disengaging that hip all the way. He started moving fluidly between me and the panel here. So he's done that well. Another thing we've worked on And this is starting to teach that horse to follow his nose. Where he'll follow his nose through that turn and then get up and go somewhere. And so this will help create that pattern for when we go to get on him, where he'll do the same thing. We want him to follow his nose and get up and go somewhere. I like that we're able to do all this stuff with a saddle. Gives us time to get him comfortable with the saddle at this point. Moving his body all these different ways, moving different parts of his body, where he has to feel that cinch as he gets in those binds. I really like how soft he was right there. See, he followed his nose and was really light on that lead rope. He wasn't dragging it. He wasn't braced up against it, anything. It was really nice. This other stage of lunging is this next one we've worked on, where I step in front and send him back that other way. It's pretty slow right now, but as this horse understands how to do it better, we can ask for more speed and more effort. There, that was good. But right now it's just the fundamentals of hitting his butt, stopping, and then turning and bringing that front end through that turn, and then taking off again. There. After we've worked on a few of those exercises, I want to do another desensitizing exercise. We can just throw this lead rope all over him. Where he keeps his feet still. I want to be able to do it on both sides. See, even this right here, I like how this colt his head's bent towards me. He's soft on this lead rope. See, he's bent towards me, and there's slack in that lead rope. And so he's following that feel. He's looking for that feel there. So after those two, then this one, we want him to turn and draw into us. So come up to us right here. And I can just rub all over him. Gets to where we can get around this colt a lot more. He comes through that turn softly and then draws up to us. We start working on some of our head shy we're going to work on those more directly later on, but where we can rub all over him, rub his eyes, rub his head, where he's comfortable us being around him and touching all over. I'm going to stay right here with him. I don't want him backing up. I want him to stand here until I ask him to move there. I'll kiss to him in that turn right there. To me, it helps them to understand the difference between if I'm just wanting them to flex or if I'm wanting them to move their feet. It also gets them thinking about when they hear that cue, it's getting them thinking about moving their feet. So when I go to get on them, then I can kiss to him and he starts thinking about moving his feet. That'll help us, especially when we're, those first few rides where we're still working on getting him to move up and move out, where we can just kiss to him and him go somewhere. So we started working on flexing, making sure that he'll flex for us. As I said, he's been very soft. I think he's already had a little bit of this done with him. This is very important for how we have these colts started. I want them doing this really well on the ground, where they feel that lead rope, they feel that pressure, and they go ahead and start giving to it. That helps us with our direction, and then we add our forward motion with our feet or with our voice, and we can get this colt to go somewhere when we go to get on him. So now that he's carried this saddle a couple times, we're going to start patting on this saddle, making noise with this saddle, kind of pressing him in the belly with this back cinch. Now, first time doing this, I want us to just kind of watch him. I want to feel him out. I want to make sure we start slowly, and then as we go, we can start adding more speed and make it louder. But I want to be able to slap this stirrup up over here. I got a little concerned about it. We're just gonna let him relax a little bit, and then I'll let it down. But all these things are gonna help us for when we go to get on this colt, where he's had all this noise, he's had these stirrups flying all around him. I want to be able to pat him on the butt, rub my hand back here. This is where my this is where my foot is going to be when I go to get on him. And so I want to prepare all this stuff. I want to be able to run my leg, my hand up underneath him. He's done well there. We're going to do this pretty often as I'm going through our other groundwork exercises, where we'll stop, do a desensitizing exercise, and then do this with him. So I want him to be soft, quiet, and relaxed. At the same time, what comes with that is horse that'll listen to you when you ask him to do something. And so that's part of it as well, where we're teaching him to move off when we ask him, and then he's all about it when we let him rest. We're going to start getting him to back up right here. This is one of the exercises we do to get him to back up. And this will help us be able to get this horse, keep this horse out of our personal space. But then also it just helps gain their respect, especially if you have a colt that's pretty pushy, or a stud colt or anything like that. Ideally, when I lean in and start right here, he should start backing up. But it'll take, some colts, they learn a little differently. Some colts pick it up real quickly. I've noticed a straight cutting horse bred colt will pick it up quick, and they'll just start, they've already, a backup in that draw on them is pretty natural. And on some of these, some different horses, maybe a racing bred horse or a running bred horse, even some more ranch bred horses, that backup isn't as natural to them. But they can all get better at it. You reward them for when they do the right thing. See, he went ahead and took a few more steps back, licking his lips. So he was thinking more about it. There, he thought about backing up right there. There. See, that was really good. So I like how relaxed he is right here. This is the frame of mind I want him in as we go to get on him. There. Overall this week, this colt's done a really good job. He's come a long ways. We've come, as I said, some of the stuff he's had done to him already, but we want to go through and make sure, find anything about this horse that is maybe a little whole, or just making sure that we cover our bases. And so, as I said, I'm pleased with his progress. He's going and taking his saddle and being comfortable with the saddle, getting comfortable with the saddle, and he'll just do better and better as we go along. So that'll be our update for Huck, the end of week 1. We'll catch you on the next one.